You're very welcome back. It's that time of the morning when the blood sugar starts to drop and we need a sweet fix to get us through till lunch.
So, just in time, Caroline Gray, the editor of Easy Food magazine, joins us to save the day, give us our sugar rush and educate us about the Bundt.
The Bundt. So the Bundt, it is basically it's a type of cake. There's a hole in the middle of it, but we don't want to think of it as like a half cake or a partial cake or anything.
A polo cake. Polo mint.
Yeah, exactly.
Donut.
We'll think of it like that. Yeah, exactly.
Donut, right.
So this is the Bundt tin, and it's a real retro kind of bake. It was released in the 50s, but it's made this resurgence recently. So we're seeing more and more Bundt tins in bakeries, cafes, and it's just a really fun kind of way to display a cake that's a bit different than the normal sandwich or square cake.
Yeah.
Okay, so like everything, it's cyclical. This is now getting
Literally.
It's back in.
It looks like a wheel.
circular.
So we're doing a lemon, blueberry, and poppy seed Bundt cake here.
Lovely.
So we're going to make the batter for it, but there's a few layers for the top. We're going to do a blueberry compote and a water icing and a lemon syrup to keep the cake super moist. So we're going to get going on those first and then do the batter.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I'm using about 200 grams of fresh blueberries. This is the perfect time of year for this.
Lovely. If you need a hand with anything now, I've got 2 of them.
Perfect.
So, okay.
All right, I'll maybe let you stir this away.
Fair enough.
So then we got about 200 grams of fresh blueberries. We're just going to add a little bit of sugar. You don't need loads because the natural sweetness from the blueberries is going to come out.
Okay.
And then just a little splash of water.
All right. Oh, yeah, that's already hot. Okay.
It's already hot. We got this going. So if you just want to keep an eye on that,
Grant.
we're going to cook the blueberries just until they start to soften, but we don't want them to completely...
Go to jam or...
Exactly,
yeah.
We're not making jam or anything here for that.
Okay.
So actually, then we have another thing. If you want to get that going, also, these can sit happily for a little bit.
Is that one on?
Also warm.
Okay.
So we're going to that's the juice of 4 fresh lemons.
You stir, right, okay, Grant.
We'll add that right in there.
Grant.
And then the rest, this is about 50 grams of castor sugar. So that's going to go in. This is going to make a lemon syrup.
Loads of sugar.
Loads of sugar.
Plenty of sugar.
Plenty of sugar.
Just right.
Let's watch the language here. So this lemon syrup, this is really nice. Now you don't have to, you don't have to use it if you don't want, and you don't have to use all of it. But this is a really handy thing when you are making a lemon cake like this, or a cake that you want to sit for a little while, because you're going to brush it over the top of it, and it's going to keep the cake super moist.
Okay, so for that reason as well as flavour, it's a good idea.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
to preserve it.
To preserve it.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly. So there's practical reasons for it.
Why the whole, Caroline? Is that to limit the amount of space? Because if it was a whole cake, it would get dry in the middle, was it? Or is it...
I mean, it's more, to be honest, it's more the presentation of it.
That's it? Okay,
yeah,
right.
exactly. So a Bundt cake, you can see it. There's kind of the fluted sides to it, and there's loads of different versions you can get.
It looks something like you took off the car from outside.
That's it. Just open the bonnet. There it is. At the fluted sides, lads.
The fluted sides, yes.
The first time.
Now,
okay.
So I'm getting going on the batter here. So we have butter and sugar.
Right.
How much?
It's about 250 grams of each.
Okay,
so
even.
Kind of nice. We're just going to get that going and then add 4 eggs, just one at a time here. Now, the thing with the Bundt cake, because the sides are fluted, the biggest possible problem people have when baking is that the cake can stick to it, because there's a lot of surface area inside the tin. So the way to get around that, and what I've done here, is it's kind of a double layer of greasing the sides. So brush
because
it
you
with...
have all these grooves, so it really
Exactly.
you could be cutting it out.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You don't want to
Scraping
spend
it
the time or the money making a cake for it to just get stuck in the tin. So, and then now I'm adding 250 grams of self-raising flour to this.
When you say double butter now, I mean, is it that, because that's buttery, is that it'll mean it'll slide out, is it?
So the butter that's in the butter that's in the cake itself isn't going to be enough to prevent the cake from sticking. So I melted some butter, used a pastry brush, just the one there, brushed the inside of the entire tin.
Okay.
Put it in the refrigerator till it hardened, and then did it again and added a coating of flour. So that's like a double layer of...
Literally, it's like an undercoat of butter.
It is. It's an undercoat of butter. That's,
my favourite.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long does it, in total, does it take to make the mix, or the batter, I should say?
To make the mix, the batter, this really just gets, everything just kind of gets chucked in together. And then, so that's pretty much the batter.
Yep.
I'm adding 50 grams of ground almonds. And that just adds kind of a nice taste and texture.
And texture, yeah.
Texture, baking powder.
Lovely.
Help it raise a little bit more. And then this was the zest of those 4 lemons that we used for the syrup there.
Okay.
So I'm going to add most of that here. And poppy seed cake needs poppy seeds. This goes in. This is about 4 tablespoons of poppy seeds.
Okay. And this is a very traditional as well as looking cake, very traditional ingredients you're using? Is there alternatives?
You could definitely, let's say you could make, this is a nice cake to make gluten-free if you wanted, because Bundt cakes work best when it's like a denser cake because you don't really want it to rise a ton. So if you wanted to use gluten-free flour, or you could replace the gluten, you could use just ground almonds in this. So this is a really nice one to make gluten-free if you wanted to.
But the blueberries are essential, are
the
they?
Blueberries are
They're what
essential.
make it,
Don't
yeah.
add these with your mixer because you risk turning them to mush.
So these are just dry blueberries, is it?
No, these are fresh blueberries.
Oh, fresh?
Yes.
But this is a different job you're doing over here, is
So
it?
that's a different job. That's going to be the compote of the top.
Okay.
So if you want to ladle this into the Bundt tin,
Okay, I'll Bundt away.
Bundt away.
My fluted grooves.
Yep.
Right.
So these are just going to be the toppings for the cake. There we go.
A man of experience. We're in good hands.
I'm well able. I'm well able.
Yeah. Now, when you're making this, I'm making the lemon syrup here. You just want to keep an eye on it because you want the sugar and the lemon juice to melt but not boil. Because if you start boiling it, then you're going to start making essentially.
So you can't really
lemon
take your eye
caramel.
off that and don't have it up too high.
Don't have
Yeah.
exactly. So for both of them, don't have them up too high. Just make it so they're kind of combining together and making a nice little mix. But don't go overboard.
Yeah.
It is interesting that our last segment was get the kids to help you out in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And now here I am.
This is a beautiful job.
Keeping me
being done.
busy.
Even
I'm going
the
to feel
big
like I
kids
achieved
can.
something this morning.
Well, no pressure with your Bundt, Ray, but Brezzy, who's coming up very shortly, is tweeting already. He wants a slice.
All right,
of your Bundt.
we'll save him a slice.
I don't know if it was the fluted grooves or what, but
Yeah, this would be a really good job for the kids to do, to take care of the tin.
Sure.
Brushing the inside of it. It's like a little bit of an art project
Yep.
because you absolutely need to get every single groove in there.
Okay.
So
Nearly there. Sorry,
nearly
Nanny.
there.
Right, okay.
It's all right. You're getting there.
Okay.
We have a.
Slowing down procedure. Right, there. I think that's
important to
everything.
get it up.
Got most of it there.
That's all right. Well, we'll
which
get all
goes
of it
over
in there.
first then? Is it the lemon?
So
Can I use
these
this?
are the 3 toppings we have.
Can I use this?
You can use
Okay,
that,
all
of
right.
course.
That's a good job, man.
You
Thanks,
did beautiful.
dude, yeah.
This is all in the tin.
Can you
This
shoot
is
that from above? Oh, there it is. You can see it. Yeah, you get my bald spot as well when I'm leaning over. Is that it? Right.
I'm very
Okay.
impressed.
Yeah?
That was a very good job. I love it.
Great.
So this is perfect.
Thanks.
So you could, if you wanted, you could kind of smooth over the top, but this is perfect as is. This is great. We're going to go
She
with
said
it.
in a judgmental tone. You
That'll
could
come out on the
smooth over
flat side.
top.
It'll be
Smooth over
fine.
the top, but this is all right.
Right,
So
okay.
this is going to bake at 190 for 45 to 50 minutes.
Okay, right.
So that
could
goes in.
smooth over the top, but-
Luckily, we
Okay,
have one
190.
that's, yes.
Okay, sorry.
Here it is.
Perfect.
Sorry.
The Bundt.
So we have the Bundt. So this is a baked Bundt. You want to leave it in the tin for about 7 to 10 minutes just so that it can release from the sides. But if you let it cool in the tin too long, it'll harden.
it's
The
welded.
sugar is kind of set
Okay,
into it.
so 7 to 10 minutes and it'll shrink a little bit and then
Shrink a
you
little
can
bit,
pop it out.
pop it out.
Okay.
So we have a little bit. So first thing we're going to put over is the lemon syrup. So I'm just going to use this like a clean pastry brush. And this is the thing. Again, this isn't absolutely necessary to have to do for it, but it adds it just adds a moistness to it. Perfect if you want to make this the day before that you're going to bring it somewhere or give it to somebody. And it just completely locks in.
The day before?
Yeah, the day
How long
before.
does this keep for, Caroline?
This would I would keep it for about, I mean, if you're not eating it straight away, I'd say 3 days.
Okay.
Because you're going to
That's
have
not going to last long.
Yeah.
It's not.
You've seen Brezzy, right? He's like 7'2". He's going to take like
just
half
in
of
one,
it
yeah.
at least.
And it is, again, kind of half cake here. So this is it. So you just kind of brush the outside of it. Even nicer if you wanted to get even more moisture, and you could poke it with a skewer and then
Do you need to
this.
cover it entirely, or you just...
No, just like kind of just a brush. You can cover it entirely, but again, if it needs time actually to kind of sink in. So if you are going to do this, it's better to do it the day before, and then you'll love how moist it is the next day.
Beautiful.
So this is just a water icing. It's just a glaze. So it's just icing, sugar, and water. You could use lemon juice instead.
Okay, very
so
simple.
I'm very, very simple. So this just gets kind of drizzled over the top. And then the very last thing we're going to do is the blueberry compote.
Aha, I can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
the way it's going down into
It's the magazine.
We've seen this somewhere before.
There you go.
So your
Matches. I'm sorry.
cake can look like they do on the cover of magazines.
Exactly. This is the thing.
If
Yeah,
you're
I
as
mean, don't be judging this one now.
Good as Caroline.
That looks good. Right.
So exactly. So we have the water icing, and then the very last thing is just the blueberries, the stewed blueberries. So you can kind of let these sit for as long as you want. If you do let them cool and get a bit saucy, they'll kind of get nice and sticky and jammy. But
Getting sticky and jammy myself here,
Sticky
actually.
and jammy, yes.
Right.
It is. It's kind of a
So you lump on the blueberries.
lump on the blueberries.
Caroline, thank you so much. Easy Food
No
Magazine.
problem.
You can check it out there as well. The full recipe's there.
Yeah, and you'll get all the full details as well up on our website. Of course, you can pick up a copy of this wonderful Easy Food magazine for the recipe and a whole lot more. Great job,
Fabulous.
Caroline.